Hello Stampers, how are you today? I am going to show you how to make this fun card with many layers. It looks a lot more complicated than I think it is. And as you see, I just did something simple on the inside. I haven't attached it yet because I haven't decided which sentiment I want to use on the inside. And I think that's a really good way to make a card. You know, go ahead and get everything ready, and then when the time comes, you can choose to leave the inside blank and attach it, or go ahead and attach something. So anyway, here, this is the card, and I'm going to show you how to make it. We are going to use the Artfully Layered stamp set. This is a little out of my wheelhouse. This is something, this tropical stuff, I really don't typically make a lot of cards. I have never actually purchased one of the tropical card sets, stamp sets that we have, but I'm trying to push myself out of my comfort zone. I've got lots of flowers, and I think I've been very happy with the way it turned out. This has the tropical layers dies that go along with it, and we are going to use some of the dies today. You can see it also has these fun, like, embossing dies that you can use. I'm not going to use those today, but a fun kind of thing for a future card. So the Artfully Layered, it comes in a suite, and we are going to use the paper. It's the Artfully Composed Designer Series paper. We're going to actually cut, here I'll show you some of these wonderful patterns. We're going to cut some of these, we're going to use this one, and some of the dies match that those patterns. So look at, isn't that fun? And there's some nice neutral, and that's where I got my color scheme from. I thought I'd go ahead and use the colors that are in the paper because I just think they're really pretty, and they're a little bit different. Look at that, isn't that pretty? A little bird of paradise. So that's the Artfully Composed paper, and then there's some vellum layering. I don't know if you can see this. This is a layer of vellum with script. I am a sucker for anything with script, and we're going to use, there's a stamp that has some script, and then this. So, so let's get started. Set this aside, and what you will need for today, the pieces, the card base, cut at 8.5 by 5.5 and scored at 4 1/4. And I'm using a basic black card base. And then one of the vellum layer is 1 inch thick by 4 1/4 inches. And then the top layer is a basic white. It's 5 1/4 by 4. That's the layer that's gonna go right there. The inside layer is 4 3/4 by 3.5. And I like to use this as my inside layer because I can get 5 pieces out of a single piece of cardstock. So just, you know, helps your paper to go a little bit further. I like to be a little bit thrifty with my paper, and I think it still looks really pretty. We're going to stamp our sentiment on, it's a 7/8 of an inch thick piece of Whisper White. And I'm actually, the sentiment itself is going to be 3 inches, but I'm going to leave it long to stamp it because I'm going to use the Stamparatus, and it gives me something to hold. I'll show you about that in a minute. So then I've got, come back to those. I've got just a couple of pieces of scrap. This is mint macaron, and it's about a 1/2 inch thick. We're going to use that to layer our sentiment. I've got a piece of Pear Pizzazz. You can see that I've already cut that one, cut something out of that one. That's one of the leaves. And then this is Evening Evergreen and an envelope. So those are all the pieces that we're going to use. And I wanted to show you, I told you that these dies cut out these pieces. So I used the dies to go ahead and cut out some of these as I was kind of playing around trying to decide what I wanted to do. So you can just see, and these have some writing in the background there. So these are all the different pieces. I just, as you can see, I just kind of, fussy cut around, and then went in and die cut those. And then this one is actually stamped. There's a stamp, and then the die fits it. So as I was playing around trying to decide what I wanted to do, this is, I cut all these out, and now I'll have these scraps available for other cards. So just kind of wanted to show that to you. Whoops, leave that one over there. And then the other side is a nice neutral. I could certainly still use that for other things. So, all right, let's get started. I always like to start with my stamping. Well, no, first thing is we always take our card base. This is that 8.5 by 5.5, and we're gonna fold and score it and then set it aside. You know, with black, it's not such a big deal, but when you've got a white card base, you don't want your fingertips to get all over it. So we are gonna do some stamping. And I think I'm going to stamp the inside and the envelope first. So since I'm kind of stamping off a little bit, let me go ahead and get a little piece of scrap paper. And I am using the Pear Pizzazz ink pad for that. And the stamp, one of the leaf stamps. So this one here. So that's the one I showed you. You can, if there isn't, the die does match it, so you can use that to die cut, but we're gonna just use it as a little accent. So this is, make sure I got the right layer. The larger layer goes on the outside. This is the smaller layer. I'm gonna do that. And because this is a cling stamp, you know, it's got the foam in it, so you know it's clean. You don't need any additional padding. It comes with its own. I'm just gonna kind of do that. Give that a little interest. And that's the inside of my card. So I'm gonna set that over here with my card base, and I'm gonna do the same thing on my envelope. Just, you know, to make it a little bit fun. Give a little hint to whomever you're sending your card to that there's something fun inside, and maybe even bring a smile to your postal carrier, right? All those folks that are working there. So there's the envelope. Again, I'm gonna set that aside, and I always clean my stamp right away using our chamois, but you know, you can use baby wipes to clean your stamps, but I will warn you, get the really cheap ones, because you don't want to get lint all over your stamps. Then they become kind of hard to clean. All right, so now we're going to use we're going to stamp the bottom layer of the card. And so the way I did this, I'm going to bring that here and show you. Actually, I think before I stamp, I'm going to cut these out because I kind of laid them out so that I kind of knew where I wanted to do my stamping. So let's go ahead and do our die cutting. Let me close this up. Breaking my own rules of doing all the stamping first. But you know, sometimes you need to do it differently, right? So I know I'm going to use one of these. That one's already cut out. That was the one that I got out of the paper. And I'm going to need these other two colors. I got the Pear Pizzazz and the Evening Evergreen, and I'm going to bring in my cut and emboss machine and run those through. And so, because it's a die, a thin die, I use the #1 base plate. The #2 is the thin die adapter, and then 2 cutting plates. So there's one there, and I actually may be able to fit, maybe if I don't know. Maybe not. Sometimes you can fit them both. Yeah, I think I can do that. I can do that. Fit them both at the same time, and put that there, and run that through. You know, I keep this little piece of tape here in case I need, sometimes if you're lining something up, you need to, it just does better if you attach some tape to it. But because these were not lining anything up in particular, I didn't need to do that. So there we go. Take those off. Move that aside. Clean that up later. That's all the die cutting that I need to do. And that's already come out. There. And bring in I have this is an old paper pumpkin box, as you can see. And I have one of the old, wow, that really came apart, didn't it? You know what, it must have moved. Did you see that? It must have moved when I went back and forth. So I'm gonna cut that again. Look at that. That didn't happen the first time. Let's see how this one did. This one's fine. Anyway, so this is an old die brush. Now we have the attachment for the take your pick tool that has the die brush on it. All right, so that one's fine. Let's try that other one again. Let me run that through, get that out of the way. And bring this back in here. You know, stuff happens sometimes. So, you know, we got to keep it real here, right? Because you could certainly have come across something like this too, and you need to know that, yeah, it happens. Not a big deal. It's only paper, right? Let me run that through. Maybe I'll only run it through. Well, it should be fine. Let me see. That time it's fine. I guess it must have wiggled a little bit when I went through, because it seems to be fine that time. Strange, strange. There we go. Let's try that again. Yeah, there we go. Oh, much better. Much better. And there's that one little, teeny little piece that needs a little help getting out. Okay. Now we're ready. Okay, so we've got our pieces, and now I don't know what the heck did I do with my, here it is. Oh my goodness. All right, so I know I'm gonna layer my pieces like this and like this. So I'm gonna go ahead, I just kind of want to give an idea here, I'll show you. See how I've got, I kind of want to see some things through. I want this to be down low and that to be up there. So I'm going to start with the leaves. They're like those little, it's like a philodendron leaf, which, you know, we consider it's a house plant, right? I've always had them as house plants. But it really is a tropical. You go to the tropics and you will find them. Just, you know, hanging from it's a vine, they're hanging from the trees. There we go. All right, so I think I stamped it off in the first card, but I'm gonna leave it fully stamped and then let you decide which one you like better. Now that I'm looking at my first card, I can see that I probably stamped off, but you know what, let's try something different there. All right, there. And then we've got this fun graphic. I don't know what it is, but there's just something about script that I just love. It's not English. I'm not really sure what language it is, but you can tell right side up. So do be careful that you've got it right side up. And I'm gonna just do this multiple times. I am gonna try and keep it somewhat straight. And I don't have it all the way at the end. Now this one as well, I'm pretty sure that in the original one, I stamped it off, but I wanted, again, because I did the full strength with the Pear Pizzazz, I thought, you know what I'm gonna try? I'm gonna try this at full strength as well. I think I might want one a little bit lower. Let's go here. And that part's gonna be covered up, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. So, there. All right, that's gonna be like that. That one's gonna be like that. And that one's gonna be under there. Yeah, that'll be good. And then I'll have my sentiment over here, so I wasn't too worried about that being covered up. Okay, so let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment next. So with this sentiment, I am going to use the Stamparatus because I want to make sure it's straight, and because it is a cling stamp. So, you know, with the photopolymer, you can see through the stamp to make sure it's straight. But with the cling stamps, you cannot see through them. So I already set it up on the Stamparatus. I have my my paper here. You can see it's actually 7/8 of an inch, just a little under 3/4 or over 3/4. And the reason I did it long was so that I had room to attach the magnet, because, and then I'm going to go in later and cut it down to 3 inches. So I am using the Memento Black ink, and now this I did get the stamp on I did get the sticker on really evenly, so it does work, but I just thought I'd show you a way to do it with the Stamparatus. And you can see that turns out that it's really nice and straight, and it's nice and dark, so I don't have to repeat it. But of course, I had just recently re-inked my Memento ink pads so that they're really nice, and I get a really good crisp stamp. But if yours is maybe a little bit light, you know, the advantage of the Stamparatus is you can do it multiple times, and you can get it straight. So I am happy with that. So I'm going to just leave it like that. If I wasn't, you know, I could certainly turn it over and do it again, or I could play around with it until I got it exactly the way I want. And if I wanted to do multiples, which is really the ideal, is I can just bring this back in here, line it up. I put a little pencil mark where it was. I would line it up, and I could stamp another one very easily. So a great way to get multiples of if you're doing cards. So there we go. So voila. Set that aside, and I think that's everything ready to be assembled. So I said I did this at 3 inches. So we'll cut that, but let's go ahead and, let me think. I'm going to go ahead and attach, yeah, I'm going to attach this layer. Let's look. Yeah, that's going to work. I'm going to attach this layer to my card base. I like to use liquid glue. Tape runner certainly works as well. I find in a humid environment, sometimes some of the tape runners don't really stick as well as I would like. And I live in Georgia where it can be humid. So just get that. All right, let's see. So I am going to go ahead and attach these layers. So this one is on dimensionals, and in order to line it up when you're doing layering, I find it really helps to cut everything out, you know, in designing the card. If you're trying to decide, well, how do I decide, you know, that background layer? I had all of this other stuff laid out first, and then I decided what I wanted to do in the background. This is going to be actually down on the bottom layer. Am I on camera? Yeah. And I'm going to attach this layer with glue dots, and I know it's going to be hidden beneath the sentiment, so I know that gives me an idea of where to put my glue dots. So let's go ahead and cut this. I am just going to use my paper snips to go ahead and cut it. It's about 3 inches, doesn't need to be exact. but I just wanted it to be a little bit shorter than this vellum layer. Oh, and I didn't show you. So this vellum it's called Vellum Layering Designs, and it's really cool. Look at that. And you've got it, same thing in white. And then there's this like map. It comes in the set, white. And then this one is a white map too. So I'm really excited about using this. I think this is gonna be fun. And then this one's more like newsprint. So anyway, that's the Vellum Layering Designs. So there, and I wanted a little more interest. So I'm gonna just do a layer of mint macaron. I just want a little bit to show there to bring that color down. So I'm just gonna attach that with liquid glue and cut it after the fact. So just a little bit down here. This is just a scrap piece. It's, you know, it's about 1/4 of an inch that was left over from, you know, some other card that I made. I'm just going to attach that there. And then if I turn it over, I can kind of play with it. And it doesn't really matter if it's a little bit off right to left, because I can cut it off because I do want it to be equal. And I just want about that much. I do want to, you know, I'm just eyeballing it, but I do want it to be straight at the bottom. I don't know, maybe I'll layer it. Let's do this first and take a look and see how we like it. See if I want it to be a little bit. Oh, maybe I do. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that one like that. I don't know. What do you think? Something different. Okay, so this is my design. I'm happy with it. I like the way it looks. I can see where everything is. So now the first thing I'm gonna go ahead and attach is my my vellum layer. I'm happy with where I've got it, and so this. I'm just kind of making sure that it's somewhat level. I stuck one. I'm going to stick a second one there so it keeps it level, keeps it straight. Probably would be okay with one, but okay. So now I know this is going to go on top of there, and then this is going to be the base layer. So I can see that this is going to be somewhat hidden. I'm going to just use a little bit of liquid glue on kind of these fatter parts here, just a little bit. And I like the fact that the top of it is going to kind of be raised up a little bit. So I just kind of want to fill in this little corner. So just put that right about there. And then this layer is next. Again, I'm going to kind of, it's going to be below that. Where am I going? It's going to be, I think, right about there. I want some of that Calypso coral script to show behind there. And then this layer, I'm going to kind of see how I've got this coming over. This is also going to be on dimensionals, but I don't want it, I want it to be kind of below here. See what I'm saying? So I'm going to keep my dimensionals low on the sentiment so that they don't interfere with here. I don't want a double layer. If I mail this card, it's going to be better as a single layer going through the mail. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put that on. I kind of want that to stick out a little bit. So I think right about there, and I am just trying to center it. And then this will be my last layer. You can see I'm going to kind of tuck that under and that, and I can just attach a little bit of glue right there and there. And then that'll be, again, give it a little bit of dimension. I can put some on that one too. Just a little bit there and there. Slip that under. You know what? I didn't. It needs to be here. All right. There we go. That one's good. That one's good. Okay. I probably could have put a little bit of glue on the top of the stem because it's under here, but it's fine. There we go. Isn't that cute? Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is, as I said, I'm going to leave this open so that I can add a sentiment later. We have these wonderful sea glass. Do you see these little sea glass gemstones? They are so stinking adorable. And I am going to, here we go. They're called Faux sea glass shapes. And that's one of the other reasons why I use these colors, because I just think these are so cute. Oh my gosh. So let's add some of these shapes here. So there are a couple of different, sizes and shapes. So this one's, like sea glass. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I actually grew up in Chicago. We would go to the beach. And if you've ever been to Chicago, a lot of them are concrete beaches, but we would go to an area near Northwestern University, and it was in Evanston, and there were actual beaches there. And we used to collect the sea glass, even in Lake Michigan, which it's a lake, it's not the ocean, but there was sea glass there. And I can remember my mother was a big crafter, probably no surprise, and we would collect the sea glass, and then she would make all kinds of fun things with it. Like mosaics, right? So when I saw these sea glass pieces, I just thought, oh my gosh, I have to have these. Have to have them. There we go. And I think, let's do one more. Maybe right there. Okay. Oh my gosh. I just hope you like that. I just think that is just so adorable. And as I said, it's definitely something different for me. And, it's kind of fun to be able to do something different, isn't it? It takes a little more brain power, but I'm very happy with it. And I hope you are too. So I think I forgot to introduce myself. I am Linda Edwards with Crafty Heron Designs, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. If you have stayed all the way to the end, thank you very much for watching my video. I hope you maybe learned something today or were inspired to do something creative. You can certainly use this concept with your own stash. Different things that you might have that you can use with the items you have in your own possession. If not, and you want to purchase any of the items that I talked about today or anything else from Stampin' Up, and you don't currently have a demonstrator, I would love to help you unleash your inner creativity. I can be found here on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. If you want to know when I release new videos, follow along at any one of those social media outlets. And if you like what you see, please give me a thumbs up or a like, and it helps other people find, other crafters, stampers, find me and my videos. So I hope you have a great day, and you find some time to do some creating on your own. Okay, I want to get that up there. And bye for now. Take care.